Hello. Chris Bedford, one of my personal heroes. Wow. At a TEDx, actually, right here in Muskegon. Who would have ever thought? This is awesome. Hella cool, isn't it? For those of you who actually know me, I'm not actually up here surfing Facebook. I really am not. Index cards have come a long way, so I'm just going to be cheating a little bit and looking at my notes. But I need to find a clicker. About 5 years ago, when I was the vice president of the Rosa Parks Institute, we were looking for a place to put our national camp, Camp Rosa Parks, which at the time didn't exist yet. The camp would be the base for our flagship program, Pathways to Freedom. The Pathways program works with inner city children from around the nation to teach them leadership and life skills. A core aspect of their training is to immerse them in nature, to challenge them and to test their abilities in teamwork and personal development skills. That's not for me, by the way. It's kind of scary up there. One of the things that we understood from the very beginning as an organization during our search is that we had no business trying to run a camp. From past experience, that's a lot farther than it seems, by the way. From past experience, we knew that we would have a difficult enough task just managing the hundreds of youth from around the nation who had never been out of the cities that they had grown up from which they came. We needed a partner who could provide that expertise while we focused on our actual programs. And then one day, while I was doing research on the internet, I stumbled across an article about a local battle in my hometown, Muskegon, Michigan. The fight was to save a camp that I had been very familiar with having grown up here, and that camp was Owasippe. This article explained how Blue Lake Township was embroiled into a court fight with the Chicago Boy Scout Council. The council wanted to sell the property to a local developer who wanted to build as many as 1,300 residential homes on this property. In order to do this, they needed township approval to rezone the property into residential zoning. They were claiming that they could no longer afford to maintain this property, and that was why they needed to sell. But they would retain a small portion of the property in order to continue their existing camping programs with their Boy Scouts. What really interested me about this article, though, and caught my eye, was how the article continued to explain that a newly formed local nonprofit called the Owasippe Outdoor Education Center, where the OEC was proposing that they buy the property as a nonprofit and lease the camp back to the Chicago Boy Scouts so they could continue to use it for their existing summer programs. What a novel idea. The OEC then proposed that they would establish multiple uses for the property while retaining its ecosystem and maintaining its natural state. By partnering with other community groups, nonprofits, schools, and corporations, they would expand into multiple year-long public uses for this property. This was exactly the type of organization that we were looking for. A cause worth fighting for and an end game that could potentially become the future home of the National Camp Rosa Parks. And a nonprofit partner that provided camping expertise that obviously we didn't have. Now let's fast forward 5 years to today. The legal battles finally culminated into an appeals court decision which convinced the Chicago Boy Scout Council to drop their suit. Today, the Chicago Boy Scout Council and the Owasippe Outdoor Education Center are officially partners. The property will continue to maintain its current use while being managed by the OEC. As you'll see, the Rosa Parks Institute eventually ran 2 successful programs in partnership with the Owasippe Outdoor Education Center. The first group was from Detroit, and then we brought in a second group 2 years later from right here in Muskegon. Their partnership continues today and will continue to expand well into the future. And earlier this year, I personally agreed to officially join the OEC as their development director in order to help them with their efforts to continue to give the public more access. So why? Why Owasippe? Why should we care about saving a Boy Scout camp, of all things? For starters, Owasippe is the very first and now the oldest Boy Scout camp in the United States. It is truly a hidden gem in the Muskegon area. 100 years ago, in 1911, the Whitehall Chamber of Commerce donated 40 acres of land to the Chicago Boy Scouts. Their hope, the Chamber's hopes, was that this would potentially increase tourism and help jumpstart the local economy by attracting thousands of boys from the Chicagoland area and their families to the area every summer. What started out as 40 acres as a gift eventually grew into over 11,000 acres. Every year, as many as 18,000 Boy Scouts from Chicago and their families would come back to this area and visit this camp every summer. This was during the mid-1960s. Owasippe then expanded into 9 separate camps, multiple swimming pools, over 100 miles of hiking trails, a camp for the Scouts' families, a post office, a grocery store, and 3 chapels. In 2011, Owasippe celebrated their anniversary as a Boy Scout camp. Today, the camp hosts up to 3,500 boys from the Chicagoland area every year. And it now contains just under 5,000 acres total in property size. It has 5 functioning camps, a family camp, a staff camp, and a main administration center complex, which includes a dining hall and a museum. The property contains uncut, original growth forest, numerous underground springs, pristine lakes, ice-cold streams, fields, and wetlands with the most amazing biodiversity, including now 21 endangered and threatened species. And every year that number continues to grow as we do more research on the property. And by the way, that's a 3-inch long cicada killer. It's a type of wasp which is extremely docile and less provoked. And if you've ever wanted to see 50 big city kids go screaming through the woods, just show them one of these. With the help of donors, it's the intention of the Owasippe Outdoor Education Center to eventually purchase the property and continue to manage it as a nonprofit organization for public use. Our goal is to maintain and continue to preserve the property while expanding its use and activities for the general public on a local and a national scale. Most recently, the OOEC has partnered with the Michigan Mountain Bike Association to increase public trail use. Volunteers began this spring to map new and existing routes and to also make trail enhancements. With currently 10 miles of trails available, we will be officially opening up 30 miles of trails in the spring of 2012. And over 50 miles of trails will be opened up by 2013. We're also eventually going to add small eco-friendly cabins, not unlike what you'll see on the Appalachian Trail, along the trails that would allow riders to enjoy longer stays out on the property. This fall, the MMBA scheduled 4 group rides to help promote the new trails and to raise funds. At the first ride, over 75 riders from all around West Michigan came out to show their support. That was off of one Facebook posting. They've been waiting for years to get access back to this property. The group is also hoping to host a regional competition next year and a youth bike retreat. And many other ideas are constantly being worked on. Using this type of partnership with other organizations, we would like to also expand our trails for other activities such as hiking and horseback riding for use by the public. But we don't want to stop there. We want the property to be utilized year-round. Our hope is to expand into relationships with educational institutions, nonprofit organizations, and corporations. We're champions of sustainability and alternative energy sources, and we would like to also be an active partner in the Muskegon area's green movement. GVSU is already conducting freshwater research on the property. Out of the existing 5 camps that remain today, 2 of them are sitting completely idle, not being used. We are open to future development possibilities as long as they are located on existing developed areas of the property and have no impact on the delicate ecosystems that are there. Some of my personal favorite ideas are to build a convention center on our main complex, an ecotourism resort, a mountain bike short course, and the region's largest skate park. How cool would that be? But why stop? Why stop there? With all the natural assets that Owasippe provides, the possibilities are absolutely endless. Owasippe can easily provide resources for the obvious winter and summer outdoor activities, corporate retreats, school field trips. Why not have a wedding out there? Absolutely gorgeous. Environmental education, wilderness survival school, search and rescue training. We'd love to have an astronomy observatory out there. pitch black at night. Can't see anything but the stars. Absolutely gorgeous. And something I won't personally get involved in, but why not an Ironman competition? We actually have the ability to do the entire event right there on the property. And another local favorite of mine is maybe the region's first X Games. The older generations probably doesn't know what that is, but Generation Y and X definitely knows what an X game is. The next step of Owasippe is truly up to you, the people that are listening today. You can actually help foster the rebirth of the new Owasippe. Thank you.